Susan sat on the couch, folding laundry in the living room, watching as Jamie played on the floor. Jamie was 3, and she loved him to bits. Susan laughed as Jamie began banging his toy car on the ground, giggling as he did it. He'd brought her and Mark so much joy over the years. She was confident that their lives hadn't truly began when they met in the city, when she was a librarian and he was a doctor. It hadn't been when they got married, or when they moved out onto the farm because society wouldn't understand how they chose to live, but only when they'd had their first child. It wasn't Jamie, but he had still lit up their life like nothing else. She loved everything about Jamie, how he'd laugh when watching his programs, or how his eyes would light up at the giant alligator doll she'd ordered for him. She couldn't picture life without him. At this thought, her heart panged inside of her, but she shoved that aside. As she mused, the door opened, and Mark, tall with long, shaggy hair, stepped in, having finished his work in the field. Jamie's eyes lit up at the sight of him, and he ran over at him, giggling uncontrollably. Mark reached down and picked him up, swinging him around in a broad arc while laughing. Susan, finished with her work, stood up, grinning. She loved Mark so much. He would do anything for her, and always put her first. The years they'd spent together had been good ones. Speaking up, she said, "If you're done with playtime, I need to actually feed him." Mark set Jamie down and walked over to her, grabbing hold of her shoulders and kissing her strongly on the mouth. Then, grinning confidently, he said, "I'll be in the garage if you need me." And with that, he disappeared into a hallway and was gone. Minutes later, Susan was in the kitchen watching Jamie wolf down the pizza leftovers from last night. She smiled as she watched. As he ate, she noticed how plump he was getting. She felt herself get excited, and as she did, she remembered her previous children who were no longer with them. Nicholas, Amber, Zoe, Albert. They had brought so much light to her and Mark's lives, for the short number of years they'd had them, each and every one of them. Then, for each one, the time had sadly come where they had to go. But in the end, the meals she and Mark would have in the wake of each one's departure had always made it all worthwhile. The meat was so succulent and juicy and good, in the way that only that special kind of meat could be. Jamie ate more and more pizza, and Susan lit up inside, just thinking of when he would be plump enough for his turn to go, and for her and Mark to have yet another special meal.